Hey everyone, this is David Brown with the migration update for April 15th, 2023 from the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. It was another really nice morning to be out. I started out at the Braddock Bay East Spit around 7 a.m. Here we have a topside view of a Caspian tern, and there were 3 Caspian terns that put on a pretty good show for us out at the end of the spit. In this photo, we can see the large reddish-orange bill the Caspian terns have, along with that dark cap on top of the head. And here's an underside view. Notice the really long, lanky, pointed wings, and that the wingtips are actually quite dark. Here's a Bonaparte's gull in breeding plumage. Notice that the head is completely black. And here's an immature Bonaparte's gull. You can see that the tail still has a black tip to it, and these won't develop the dark head like the adult breeding plumage birds do. I moved over to the Hawk Watch platform, and you can see it ended up being a beautiful sunny day to be out. The winds were mostly light from the northeast, occasionally shifting more easterly. Temperature was up and down a little bit, sometimes with that cooler lake breeze, sometimes feeling warmer. We heard the first field sparrow of the season a few days ago, but today was the first day that I actually saw one. Likewise, yesterday we heard a brown thrasher but didn't see it, but today we spotted it singing from the bushes in front of the Hawk Watch. And if you aren't familiar with brown thrashers, they're kind of similar to northern mockingbirds in that they learn the songs and calls of other birds and other sounds. And actually, if I remember correctly, thrashers have an even bigger repertoire than mockingbirds do. They can learn something in the order of several thousand different songs and calls. And thrashers usually repeat each call 2 times, so it has a certain rhythm to it that stands out. We had a group come out today from the Braddock Bay Raptor Research Raptor ID class, and while they were on the platform, we had this breeding plumage common loon fly over. Here's a juvenile Cooper's hawk that migrated by today. You can notice that teardrop streaking that's mostly concentrated on the upper breast. Relatively large head. And it's an accipiter, so it has a long tail. And here you can kind of get a hint that the outer tail feathers are shorter than the central ones, giving the tail more of a rounded tip. We had a steady flight of turkey vultures today with around 275 total. Some of them came close to the platform, but most of them were in towards the parkway or even beyond due to that light northeast wind. Here's a bird that we heard coming before we could see it. This is a greater yellowlegs, and we heard it coming and we were searching in the blue, and finally it came and flew right over the platform, but a little tough to spot against the blue skies. Here's an adult red-tailed hawk. We can see the dark patagial bars in the shoulder area and the dark belly band. And it's an adult, so it has a dark, bold trailing edge to the wing and a red tail. Here's an adult sharp-shinned hawk, so we notice the long tail, but it's got more of a squared-off tip to it. Relatively small head. We see that it has a full crop, which is the bulge here, which means it has eaten recently. Here's another turkey vulture that came right over the platform fairly low. Here's a male northern harrier or gray ghost. Notice that it has long, lanky wings that it holds up into a V or a dihedral, and a relatively long tail. Also notice that the wingtips look a bit pointed. And the adult male harriers have this distinctive plumage where they have kind of a gray head and then a lot of white throughout the underside with a few highlights of black with the black wingtips and also this black line at the tips of the secondaries. And here's an adult male purple martin, and we could hear them as they were flying around today. Just a small number of purple martins, but their numbers will continue to pick up as the month goes on. Taking a look at the eBird lists, at the East Spit this morning, only 47 species, just not as much duck variety around, and some songbirds, but not a huge amount of activity. And at Braddock Bay Park today, we had 60 species. Taking a look at the HawkCount report for our migrant raptor totals today, we had 276 turkey vultures, 5 northern harriers, 21 sharp-shinned hawks, 2 Cooper's hawks. For Buteos, we had 2 red shoulders and 7 red tails. And for falcons, we had 5 kestrels, for a total of 318 migrant raptors today. That brings our April total to 14,904 and our season total to 24,076. It was really unusual that for the second day in a row, we didn't even see a single bald eagle. not just migrating, but any bald eagle, period. We had no new species for the season today. And looking at the forecast, tomorrow's looking generally sunny with a high in the low to mid 60s, winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Although if you look at the hourly on the weather app, it's looking like it's starting out a light southerly wind in the early morning that's then shifting to a lake breeze. So I don't know where this 10 to 20 comes from because it looks fairly light from the northeast. So that wind forecast may not be completely accurate. But tomorrow's looking kind of similar today in the sense of it being sunny with those light northeast winds, so I would expect somewhat similar results. We may move over to Frisbee Hill depending on how the flight develops. We'll see. For Monday, looking cloudy in the morning, then off and on rain showers, high in the mid-50s, winds west at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Would expect light to moderate migration. And for Tuesday, it's cloudy and becoming windy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. High in the mid-40s, winds west at 20 to 30 miles per hour. So fairly strong winds. Unfortunately, the southwesterly winds are overnight Monday into Tuesday. By the count on Tuesday, it's looking like it will be straight west. Should get some amount of migration. We'll keep an eye on that. But for as of right now, expect light to moderate migration. All right, no helicopters landing next to the Hawk platform today, but we are now halfway through the Hawk season. And there's still plenty more Raptors to come as we continue through April and continue the count through the end of May. So I hope to see you out soon at the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. From Lyco Birds, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.